my next one, I think people maybe within your age range, the war movies, they like them to be patriotic, and this isn't an example of it, but it is possibly the best war movie of all time. And I think it's so badass that you kind of, even though it has that tilt, you got to give it its due, and it's Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah.
I never understood someone. They just said it so simplistic that it was like, yeah, that's what this movie is about. It is the fog of war.
Yeah.
Because
the fog of war and the insanity of it, because they showed the insanity of it, and like Martin Sheen's character was just so compelling to me.
He's great, and then for someone like Brando to just show up and have this air of just this weight to the character.
Yeah.
I mean, they build up to it the whole time, so you
but then at the end that what you build up to better be there, and
it was.
I think I'd heard that at times they said and I think I've told you this, and you mentioned it before. They just gave him a general directions and just said talk.
I wonder if he came up with the inoculation.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I remember that.
Because it didn't. I think the first time I watched it, I wasn't really comprehending what he was saying, so it just like kind of in one ear and out the other. But when I heard it like the second and maybe the third time, I was like, I get it. It's like, because he's looking at it, he's like, we can't help them the way you think. Like I have to be a almighty ruler for this they're doomed people, and they need. It's like let's replace one regime with mine in my mind, in his mind it makes perfect sense because they aren't able or equipped to even accept help in his mind.
Right.
Like
we can't westernize them.
Yeah. We give them a helping hand and they chop it off, which is the story.
That's really about it. But okay, and he said like I'm the only one, which is true.
That I paraphrased.
But he did go insane. No, you're right. I understand. But he was insane too. You know what I mean? And he wanted to be killed. Which
is further to his insanity. It's like he wanted a warrior's death. Type deal.
I guess that would have to be right. Because I couldn't say, if we want to die, all these guys have guns and are insane, so they'll kill you. Yeah. But they may not have. They elevated him to like a godlike status.
True.
And he allowed it to happen, and then he got to it and he said, "Oh my God, I've created what I've created." And it said, what it was written down, I don't know, in a book or something, it says, kill them all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe it was on a wall.
Yeah, it may have been on a wall.
You could be right. He said something that alluded, or at least made me interpret it as like, he might have been exactly like, give me a warrior's death.
I felt like he was up there, waiting for me to take the pain away. He just wanted to go out like a soldier.
Oh, maybe,
to Sheen.
Yeah.
And just one little teeny tiny quote. And maybe you said this when we were talking about this before, but he like went back into some type of training, and he was like 46.
Oh yeah.
And
Kurt's did.
No, Brando.
Yeah. Well, that's Kurt's.
Oh, Kurt. I thought you meant Kirk. It's not Kirk Douglas. It's Martin Sheen. I got confused. He's like, who the fuck does that?
Right.
Airborne. He was 38 years old. Why the fuck would he do that?
Martin Sheen.
Yeah. Because I did that when I was 20 years old and merely,
yeah,
busted my ass.
Exactly.
Because he knew what he was going to do. Because what he did is he went there and he basically thought, we can't do this. We won't win. We can't win this. Because of that fact that they're so dedicated, there's nothing that they won't do to stop us. And he filed a report on it. I don't know if you remember. Martin Sheen talked about it, and he said the brass didn't like what he filed, so they kind of buried it. And then he was going to quit if they didn't let him go to Ranger. I think it was Ranger School, something like that. But anyway, he got Ranger School. We got a platoon, and then he went like deep up the river.
Yeah.
Ended up in Cambodia, I think maybe.
Right. And you see too. So there was like the battle that Sheen kind of falls into as he's going up the river, where they think he's the whatever, the highest officer or whatever. Do you remember the black guys? Like he yells something at him, and they're all nuts.
You mean at the bridge?
Yes.
Who's your commanding officer?
I thought you
aren't
were.
You? And you get that one guy who's got, I don't know what it is, what kind of gun it is, but it shoots something, between the size of a bullet and a grenade, because some Vietnamese guy's screaming from the other side, and they want him to stop. So they hit this guy. His guy's so mellow. Okay, I'm going to take a shot at him. And he just goes, and then you hear a boom, and then the screaming stops. And I guess what they were saying in it is they want to be able to say that they have a bridge over this river. And they say every night they tear it down. Every day they build it back up.
Yeah.
And that scene, oh my God. I saw Redux, and they had all this stuff about the French. And
with the dinner
that
they have. That was so freaking unneeded.
Only thing, it was, and I'm glad they cut it. But the only part of it, I think, and I don't know if it was relevant to the ending or not, is that like Martin Sheen kind of becomes romantic with one of the French girls there.
Yeah.
And she kind of convinces him that he's not a bad person. Because he thinks of himself, as a soldier, he follows orders, he does he does really nasty things, but he's a bad person. And she kind of convinces him that he's not.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's able to actually break. Well, he was never under Brando's hold, but maybe that's why he wasn't captured by his cult of personality.
Right.
There's almost like a Dante's Inferno type of symbolism in that going deeper down. It's like the River of Styx almost, and a descent into hell type of metaphor analogy towards it, and at the bottom
more and more danger.
Yeah.
Go in there.
And at the pit is Lucifer's sin of, what is it? It's something like treachery.
Probably.
And you could potentially look at what's his face, Brando as being treacherous.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, he's running around. It's like he's kind of like representing the U.S. military. He's just doing whatever he wants.
Right.
I mean, he was continuing to fight a war against, I don't even know who, but I mean, he had all those fighters, and they were like committed to him, and he was just wiping people out.